Kris Kremers and Lisanne Froon were two Dutch females who had spent 6 months arranging a vacation to Panama. They planned to immerse themselves in the culture by volunteering at the local school while learning Spanish and also spending some time hiking. Lisanne and Kris were supposed to return home after a 6-week trip, but they never did. The girls liked traveling about the city, trying different foods and doing what tourists do during the first several weeks of their trip, which began on March 15, 2014. They also met two Dutch boys on vacation, and the four of them were enjoying each other's company at restaurants and on the beach. The girls moved in with a local family after the first 2 weeks, where they would stay for the next 4 weeks while volunteering at a neighboring school. Lisanne and Kris decided to go for a hike with the family's dog, Azul, on April 1st, 2014. Given that they had a hike planned the next day with an expert tourist guide, it's unclear why they chose to do this. The hike would take around 5 to 6 hours round trip, so the host family anticipated that the girls would be gone for a long time. Lisanne and Kris were seen eating lunch with two Dutchmen they had met earlier on their trip, and they all decided to head to the beach after lunch. Kris and Lisanne separated up from the others after lunch and the beach and headed to a nearby volcano. The family's dog returned home alone later that evening without the girls anywhere to be seen. The host family searched the area surrounding their home but opted to notify the authorities in the morning, because they thought that maybe they were outside doing tourist things, enjoying themselves, and they were just the host family after all, so they didn't know the girls too much to speculate. The host family notified authorities after Kremers and Froon failed to show up for an appointment with a local tour guide who was meant to take them on a private walking tour of Bacuet on April 2nd. Locals performed a foot search of the village and lightly forested regions the following morning, as well as an aerial search of the forest. Both girls' families, as well as Dutch special forces, flew out to Panama on April 6th. After a 10-day search, they found nothing. Lisanne and Kris's parents set up a $30,000 reward for anyone who could give any information, but nothing came up. Days proceeded into weeks, and after 10 weeks, neither Kremers nor Froon had been seen, and nothing was found to support that they are missing. An indigenous couple discovered Lisanne's blue rucksack over 150 kilometers away from the host house 10 weeks after they vanished. The couple handed the backpack over to the cops, claiming it had not been there before. $83, Lisanne's passport, both cell phones, Lisanne's camera, sunglasses, and a water bottle were all found inside the backpack. And here it gets even weirder. Considering the humidity, heat, and rain in the rainforest, all of the things were in good shape. Police inspected the camera and phones right away and discovered unsettling evidence. The phones had been in use for over 10 days after the woman vanished. Over the course of just 4 days, 77 efforts to contact the police were attempted using both 112, the Dutch emergency number, and 911, the Panamanian emergency number. Police were able to piece together an outline of the period the girls were gone in the woods using the call logs. Because there was no service, none of the calls were answered, aside for one to 911, which was answered for a split second. The first call came just hours later. They set out on their journey, and the calls continued for several days. Kris's phone was turned off and on multiple times after Lisanne's phone died on April 5th. Kris's phone was turned on April 6th, and an incorrect passcode was entered many times. The phone was last used on April 11th. Lisanne's camera was yet another fascinating piece of evidence that revealed a great deal. The majority of the photos were of the girls on their hike, however, photos taken on April 8th raised suspicion. On April 8th, starting at 1 AM, 90 pictures were taken. These flash snaps were taken every 2 minutes, and no one could figure out why they were taken. Some believe the girls were attempting to enlighten their path in the dark. Others believe that it is not the case because the flash in the dark would have harmed their eyes, while others believe they were taken to warn off jungle predators. Another idea is that Lisanne and Kris were utilizing the lights to warn the search team. Kris's hair was without a doubt, one of the strangest images captured by Lisanne's camera. This image is the subject of a lot of speculation. It is unclear whether it's the back or the front of her head that is captured. Some claim to see an injury, but there is no way to know for sure. It is also unclear why Lisanne photographed Kris's head. Some speculate that it was to indicate how she died. From the camera, only one photo was deleted. Investigators could see that photo number 509 was missing because the file names were numbered. Surprisingly, this photograph was taken between the last daylight photograph taken on April 1st and the first nighttime photograph taken on April 8th. There have been attempts to recover the photo but with no results. And this is another major part of why this is such a mystery, because when you delete a photo on a camera, it still remains in the memory, and to wipe it out completely you need to connect the camera to a PC and delete the pictures from there. Following the discovery of the backpack, a new search was conducted in the area, and soon enough police discovered Kremers' clothing neatly folded along the river's edge after investigating the area where the backpack was discovered. A pelvic bone was discovered near the boot, and 33 more bones were discovered in the same area. Indigenous people were deputized by police departments, and they were the ones who were able to locate the remains. Lisanne's feet accommodated 28 of the bones. Kris's bones had been bleached, but not Lisanne's bones. No one knows why Kris's bones were bleached, and the weather had nothing to do with it. Kris's bones were significantly more bleached than those of a person who had been deceased for almost 2 years, leading authorities to assume it was done chemically rather than by the natural elements. The bones had been bleached with a phosphorus or lime, both of which were not found in the surrounding soil. Many individuals speculated that bone bleaching may have something to do with the Mexican cartel, as they have been known to utilize lime to speed up the process of removing evidence by bleaching bones. Given that Kris's bones were bleached, some assume that there was an attacker involved, but it is unclear why Lisanne's bones were not. Following the discovery of the bones, a bigger investigation was launched, with the focus first on the host home where both girls were staying. All of their stuff was still there, indicating that they intended to return. A national civil protection agency was in charge of the inquiry. Certain people say the inquiry was bungled because the criminal technicians were meant to be investigating. And that's it. Now it's time to theorize. In this case, people like to entertain the idea that it was foul play, but in this video my goal is to provide information from both narratives and ask questions to make you think about this case even more. So as far as I understand, the trail that these girls went on needed a guide. Yes, it is easy to get lost, but from what I have heard, it is easy to get lost pretty much anywhere in the wilderness. Even if you have walked that path hundreds of times, it has happened before, and all it takes is for your mind to wander off for a little bit, and then you'll realize that the path that you are walking is not your usual path. So one of the biggest pieces of evidence that points to foul play is the deleted photo 509, because it was the last photo between daytime and night photos, and it was completely wiped from the memory card. Or was it? What if the camera malfunctioned? Why would it malfunction, you might ask? Well, one theory suggests that Lisanne dropped her camera in a stream shortly after photo 508 was taken, and probably moments before photo 509 was taken. So she recovered the camera, but it wasn't working for the next 7 days, and then on April 8th, the last desperate photos were made. But this just made me question a lot more things. Did the girls really survive 7 days in the jungle with the little equipment that they had? For the support of foul play scenario is the deleted photo 509, but not only that, the night photos just might have been taken by the third party to simply throw off the investigators. I do believe that it would make more sense if the third party destroyed the whole camera rather than just taking the camera and deleting one photo and then months later placing it back. But if the suspect deletes the photo from the memory card and takes those night photos, it makes things a lot more mysterious. And speaking of mysterious, here are some details that need more explanation. Panamanian police haven't released full autopsy of the girls. Fingerprints of digital camera and phones weren't made, or just aren't released to the public. Remember the host family's dog, Blue, who accompanied them on their walk, but is not seen in any of the photos. why? The 911 call log. Supposedly no calls were made during the night. Instead, only 2 attempts to call 911 were made on the first day, spending one night in the jungle with all the creatures and danger out there already sounds unpleasing. So why there were made 77 more attempts only from April 7th throughout to 10th? And how did the girls survive for that long? According to the location where Kris and Lisanne's bones were scattered, there are many wooden sheds and tiny wooden houses along the river and spread throughout the terrain where Kris and Lisanne may have ended up. Why wouldn't they have hidden in there if they truly were lost, waiting for the rescue teams to arrive? Why hasn't the precise location of the 90 nighttime photographs been thoroughly researched and determined? No photos of the camera for the next 7 days or so could be explained that the girls thought that the battery was dead. But after those 7 days, as a last desperation call, they turned on the camera and turns out that it still had some battery, so they just took a bunch of photos for whatever reason, but also no photos on either of the phones for the next 7 days? That could be explained with the girls saving battery. Another thing that is interesting is that the girls never even tried to contact their family, nor the host family, and didn't even leave a message to them. Maybe that was because the girls were confident that they will be found. And speaking about the trail, it is not like it was uncommon. As a matter of fact, the trail was used by the locals a lot, which then says 2 things. The girls went for a adventure and decided to not go with the path, or because locals know this trail, some people with bad intentions came along. I mean, it could be a mix of both. First off, the girls got lost and then foul play occurred. But one source says that the path the girls took was dangerous, but others say that it was common path even for the locals to take, and it was hard to get lost there. So again, a mix of information and we just don't know who to trust. And one last thing I want to touch on in this video: the 3 mysterious deaths of Osman Valenzuela, Jose Manuel Morges and Leonardo Arturo Gonzalez, who were involved with the girls in some way. For context, there was a photo leaked of what looked like Kris and Lisanne together with Osman and Jose. Osman vanished just a few days after the girls went missing. He was later discovered to have drowned, though there is some speculation that this was a homicide. The swimming photo was allegedly on his phone, which is where much of the conjecture about the girls' deaths came from. Jose was killed in a hit-and-run accident the following year. He was a colleague of Osman's. Leonardo is said to have driven the girls to the Pianista trailhead in a cab. The following year, he was discovered drowned. So can this be a cover-up, foul play and spun off in a way that tourists are still safe going to Panama? Likely, there is definitely something shady going on in this case, but I will not be pointing fingers at anyone in this video. The case is and still remains a mystery. Today I was not able to fully provide you with a definitive answer, and I don't want to make this video too long as well. This investigation definitely needs a part 2, but whether I will do it or not, I am not sure yet, because the amount of speculation and the lack of evidence really makes it difficult to create a likely scenario about what truly happened to the girls. I want to believe that they got lost, but then the phone calls, the pictures, the bleached bones, the evidence that was found just months later just seems so bizarre, and I don't have the full knowledge to explain this mystery fully, at least today. Stay safe, and God bless.